Hey friends, it's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time to get your weekend started right. But today's episode, we're talking about 3 common pitfalls of overeating on the weekends. If you are somebody that, as much as you want to get out there and start having fun with your friends, you cannot help but feel a little voice in the back of your head trying to hold you back. You're worried about how much you're going to eat this weekend, and it's beginning to make you feel a little bit anxious. It's exactly why, my friends, I've created this episode today, 3 common pitfalls of overeating on the weekend, and we're helping you win the war of weekend overeating. We're going to go over these common pitfalls and how to avoid them so that you can have the best weekend possible, so you're not starting your diet over again every single Monday. Now, friends, you know the drill, but if you're new here, grab your tea, grab your water, grab your matcha, your water, your tea, your coffee, your liquid of choice, your notepad and pen, because today's episode is going to be juicy and you're going to need some notes. If you're driving, of course, you can't take notes. Just come back and take them later. But now let's kick it off and let's get started. Hey, friends, welcome to VA Nutrition Coaching, the podcast. You are tuned in for another weekly episode, and I am your host, Verona, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm here to give you mindset-focused nutrition, weight loss advice that you can keep off for the long term. It's not about restrictive diets here. It's not about cutting out carbohydrates. It's definitely not about cutting out your favorite foods in order to lose weight that, quite frankly, as soon as we've lost it, we end up regaining it and a little bit more. No, friends, I'm here to give you real talk, no nonsense weight loss that you can actually achieve realistically and keep it off. I'm a faith-based woman, also keeping it real when it comes to weight loss and keeping it real when it comes to nutrition, helping you do things that you can actually sustain for a long term. Now, friends, let's get into today's episode. Now, friends, if you're trying to lose weight, weekends can be a hard time of the week. It's easy for you, it was easy for me to justify overeating on the weekends. When you're tired and hungry after a long week of work that you never thought was going to end, and when I mean long, emphasis on the O's, so it's a long week of work, you've just been busy. But when it comes to this, there are ways to avoid these common pitfalls so you can still enjoy your weekend meals and still get to lose some weight and continue to do the things that you wanted to do without feeling like you have to start your diet over every single Monday. Focus on the fat loss, hint is where I'm going to teach you all of that. But if you've only got a few minutes today, this is just about to whet your appetite, pun intended. But my friends, this is the first thing. When it comes to overeating, we can get so lost and so focused, and we can actually convince ourselves that we deserve it. Have you ever been there? I have. Now, when it comes to the weekend, some of the things that you can do, number one, is you can start to view, or you can start to see the weekend as a reward for your hard work during the week. So the weekend, as we all know, the weekend is a time to relax and it's a time to enjoy yourself. The fact that you have eaten healthy all week doesn't mean that you can go crazy with your food choices. In fact, my friends, it is literally quite the opposite. If you've been maintaining a healthy diet all week, it's important to continue as you go on, even when the weekend comes. The weekend isn't a time to throw it in the towel and just do whatever you want and eat whatever you want with it. Now, it can be a little bit tricky because the weekend, we've got a little bit more time. We wake up a little bit later if you don't have children that wake you up, like your personal alarm clock, that is. So, or your circadian clock tends to wake you up at whatever time. Me, I wake up at the same time every single day. Before, it used to be 5 a.m., then it used to be 4:40 a.m., then it used to be 5:20 a.m. every single day. Monday to Sunday, I used to wake up at the same time, but now I'm just not fighting it. That's the way that it is. But when it comes to your foods, it's not about denying yourself or even depriving yourself or being too restrictive, because how does that work for you? Let me tell you, it didn't work for me. So it's not about being restrictive. So then what do? If you're trying to lose weight, but you have got this justification in your mind, every time I eat sugar, every time I eat ice cream, every time I eat carbs, every time I eat this, every time I eat that, that's when I gain weight. No, it can seem like that and it can feel like that. But actually, is that the real case? In a few months' time, I'm going to be doing a workshop. The workshop is going to cost $47 or £47 if you're in the UK. Why am I telling you the price now? Because you need to know what it costs to sign up to this workshop. The workshop will be a workshop with me, yours truly, obviously, but we're talking about all things snacking. We're talking about all things carbs. We're talking about all of these things. Why do you have to pay? Because this workshop is me dedicated. It's almost like having a one-to-one session with me. One-to-one sessions with me are not $47, but this is a workshop that you can have access to the recordings for when you need to listen to it. Now, there are steps that you're going to have to do to actually get the results, but there's also going to be workbooks and materials to do it. I'd love to offer it for you for free, but if you're not putting skin in the game, then you don't get the results that you need. Now, we've talked about you're seeing the weekends as a reward for your hard work for the week, aka cheat day, which is something that I cannot stand, because why do you have to cheat? Who are you cheating? You're only cheating yourself out of the results that you are desperately trying to get. So remembering it's not about denying yourself or even depriving yourself or even being too restrictive, because when it comes to it, you're going to end up aka cheating and telling yourself it's okay, I've been good all week, I deserve it. Number 2 is binging, because you only have one day a week to enjoy the certain foods that you crave. Now, binging on the weekend, let me tell you, as you know, is not a good way to lose weight, and it is not a sustainable way to lose weight. It's definitely not a good way to enjoy your food. Binge eating is also, let's do some geeky nerd tips for you today. Binge eating is also known as hyperphagia. It's actually a condition characterized by excessive consumption of large quantities of food in an amount of time. Now, the severity of this can vary depending on how long and how often these binges occur. But no matter what level they reach, binge eating can have negative effects on your health and your mindset throughout the week leading up to your next binge session. Now, this definition is not to get confused with the binge eating disorder, which is diagnosed or treated with a qualified dietitian. Make no mistake, friends, I am not diagnosing anybody by giving you these tips to say that you have this condition. Go to a dietitian or your doctor to get formally diagnosed if you are afraid that your binge eating is out of control and it actually you eat and then you're restricting yourself, you're being sick, you're restricting yourself. If any of you have those patterns of behavior, it's nothing to be ashamed about, but you can get help and support to get you through this. Number 3, weekend overeating is not a sustainable way to lose weight, but if you're following these 3 things, you can avoid the common pitfalls. Now, number 3 is actually nearly impossible to control your portion sizes and ingredients in a restaurant. So, my friends, if you like eating out like I do, you're going to have to be wise. You're going to have to change your game plan when it comes to eating out. Now, portion sizes that are in restaurants are way too big. Now, majority of portion sizes or majority of calories can exceed from anywhere to 1200 calories for one meal up to ridiculous amounts of calories depending on the restaurant that you're going to. Now, 1200 calories for a meal is literally what a toddler has in a day. So think about how much food that you're actually eating. Although they taste nice, the calories for some meals aren't actually calculated effectively on their menus. So if you're going to eat out at a restaurant and you're trying to attempt to count those calories, forget about it. It's just not going to work. And a bonus one is getting enough sleep. Now, this is one that you might hear often and it's repeated for a reason. Getting enough sleep is essential to your health and well-being. And when you don't get enough sleep, not only are you hungry, you're hangry. You're hungry and angry at the same time. Have you ever been sleep deprived? You're snappy, your temper is really short, you haven't got time for foolishness. Well, I might just be describing me, but when I'm really tired, I find there are 2 things that I do regularly. I snack. I want to snack or give me sugar, give me anything, because I'm trying to get that quick succession of energy really quickly to keep me awake. That's what happens when we're trying to sleep, and your body will respond in some ways that are not very favorable. You're going to start increasing the your body will start increasing the craving for carbs. You are going to be like, why am I craving crisps, chips, sweets, everything that I can think of right now? I want, give it to me now, and give it to me in large quantities. So that can also then lead to overeating, and the pattern happens over and over again. And let's not forget that it can also lead to weight gain, which is the opposite of what we want if we're trying to lose weight. Now, when it comes to sleep deprivation, it also increases the levels of graining. Now, I'm talking about this quite often. Focus on fat loss. I've talked about it in other episodes, which is the hunger hormone. And what will happen is it will decrease your levels of leptin, which is the 2 hormones that work together, and that leptin hormone tells your body when I've had enough food. Now, because they're out of sync and they're out of whack, the 2 are almost like they're competing against one another. So you're feeling like you always need to eat because your body's not able to tell you when you're full up, which can then lead you to eating more calories, cue weight gain, and your body is all out of sync. Which then what happens is it makes it harder for you to feel full, even though you have just eaten. Why? The culprit is your sleep. Now, I understand some of you might have trouble sleeping. That may mean that you might need medical intervention or medical support to help you sleep. Sleep deprivation is not just about sleep deprivation and not just about getting your hormones out of whack. It can also contribute to depression and things like anxiety disorders, high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, irritability. Let me talk about that irritability. And in fact, that these things are not just, and they're not an exhaustive list. Some of them are quite like, whew, these are not hard fit. These are not easygoing things, are they? And this is just from a lack of sleep. Now, if you are somebody who is struggling with sleeping, I'd encourage you to go and see your doctor not to get some more prescription pills if you're already taking prescription pills, but just to see your doctor and to see what they recommend and how they recommend. Some doctors may prescribe melatonin if they require that is for your body. I can't give you that information, or I can't tell you what to do in terms of sleep supplements as I'm not working with you and I'm not your medical care provider. So when it comes to lack of sleep and not getting the right amount of sleep, it makes it difficult for your brain. And it also makes it difficult for the brain's reward system to regulate itself properly, which then also leads to overeating. Now, when it comes to overeating, it's about being mindful of how you approach food and taking care of yourself during the weekend. Now, when it comes to nutrition, I'm always on the lookout to how I compare foods, how I can make a healthier version of the foods that I love. Now, that doesn't always mean that it needs to be fatty, fast fried foods. Of course not. But it is about building balance in terms of nutrition, which is why the recipes membership, both the premium version and the basic version, they are what I have created for you. So the basic version is just for somebody who wants to get started, but the premium version is for somebody who wants to get a little bit more of a handle over your nutrition, and they can be accessed on the website, of course, vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/recipes. If you are following these things and you are not trying to avoid them intentionally, but if you become aware of these things, you will then be able to win the war on overeating that happens every single weekend. I do need to tell you though, friends, it's not a quick fix, but it is something that you are continually working towards, that in turn develops into a lifestyle change that is sustainable. So notice here, I haven't said that you need to take fat loss pills. I haven't said that you need to cut out carbs. I haven't said that you need to cut out sugar. Even though you have tried those things in the past, you may have actually seen some results. Are you still doing it now? The answer is probably no, you're not still doing it now. And why did you stop? It's probably more than likely that it became unsustainable for you. And what happened is you started to get hangry and you're like, just give me all of my sweet foods and give them to me now in large quantities, please, without even saying thank you. So when it comes to this, when you're starting to do these things slow and steady, you'll then find that over time it becomes easier and easier without having to restrict yourself from carbohydrates, without having to cut out any form of food group at all, but you're finding the things that make sense, the things that make balance, and you are being able to manage and navigate the weekends and holiday seasons. Holiday seasons we discuss over in Focus on the Fat Loss. And if you haven't signed up already, girl, you need to get signed up. vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/focus. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to Focus on the Fat Loss, keep listening and I will catch you on the next episode, friends. Take care and have an amazing weekend. I know I'm going to. It is 31 degrees out there this weekend. In fact, it's 33 degrees out there this weekend. It's going to be a scorcher. Don't forget to put your suntan and stay hydrated, my friends. See you on the next one. Imagine if there was no doubt in your mind any longer that you could actually lose weight, since fad diets that you've tried have given you a full sense of hope for weight loss. Imagine if you could be unstuck from all of that all or nothing mentality and feel like you need to give up. Imagine if you learnt to actually love the reflection that you saw back looking in the mirror, rather than calling yourself a marshmallow, fat, mum pooch, and all of these negative names. Imagine if you could be able to do that. Well, my friends, that's exactly why I created Focus on the Fat Loss. If you're tired of wasting money on fad diets, quick fixes and unsustainable results, and being made to eat broccoli, chicken and rice every day, and they tell you need to cut out carbs after 6 p.m. So when it turns to 6:01 p.m, you're now afraid to eat a morsel of bread or carbs because you're worried that this is going to cause you to gain fat. If you need an approach to fat loss that works and fits into your lifestyle, and you want to heal your self-sabotage relationship with food, Focus on the Fat Loss is a 4-week nutrition and mindset focused group coaching program where you will have access to recipes, educational videos, live Q&As, and access to meet your girl. But I'm also including the workout library. Friends, if this is you, then head on over to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/focus to sign up to join us. Now, let's get back into today's episode. Hey friend, you made it to the end of the episode. What was your biggest takeaway from today's episode? Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review over on iTunes. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about today's episode, or you need help, then you can contact me over on Instagram at VA Nutrition Coaching Podcast, or email me support@vanutritioncoaching.co.uk, or you can head over to the Facebook page VA Nutrition Coaching Podcast. It helps us reach even more women who are fed up of with dieting, don't know how to lose weight. They're frustrated with following Sally's results and they're not getting any of their own, and they just finally want to shed some pounds and do it in a way that they can sustain and they can enjoy. But my friends, that's a wrap for today's episode. I can't wait to catch you on the next one. Until then, friends, stay healthy, stay blessed, and remember, if you haven't already downloaded your 5-ingredient recipe pack, you can go to the website vanutritioncoaching.co.uk/recipes and download your 5-ingredient recipe pack. Who said healthy eating was boring? See you next time, friends.